Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about the Ruellia simplex, which is just this plant. I love the flowers. I use them all over for borders, and they do come in different colors, but the variety we get here in Kenya is the purple varieties. But you can get a pink one, you can get a white one, you can get a blue one, but this is the one that I'm crazy about. I'm going to tell you more about it. I'm going to show you how to propagate it, and I'm going to tell you something about this plant. My name is Alice, and I'm the Redsoil gardener. Now, as I mentioned, this is one of my favorite plants, and I know that in America it's invasive, and basically some people don't like to plant it, but I just love it for borders. I love it for color. And look at this beautiful flower. It has 5 petals. It looks like a trumpet. And look, you get all the babies coming out here. There's another flower, and soon these ones at the edge will get the flower. Now these are the leaves. Look at them. They're almost like lances, you know, lovely shape. And what I normally do, as I mentioned earlier, is I mix it or put it in front of borders, and it just grows, and the color is spectacular. Now the thing about this particular plant, they call it actually the Mexican tulip, is that if you put it in full sun, you will get more blooms. It can tolerate shade, but maybe you won't get that many blooms. But I would actually advise you to put it in a sunny spot. Now, I want to talk about this plant because basically the propagation is very simple. Is one, we look for the nodes, which is here. That's where the rooting will take place. But in this case, my first propagation, what I'd like to show you is I did a soft tissue propagation, as you see here, and all I did is clip it. So I am going to remove these ones here, because you always have to keep a bit of leaf for photosynthesis, and also to be able to supply our dear little baby plant as it's trying to grow, to use that resource of the leaves. So I took this section, the soft tissue, and all I did was put it in soil. So I want to show you what the result of that is. So here are my plants that I put in soil. And there is your propagation. This is about 3 weeks, and I've already got so much rooting. So from this one, I'm going to put it in a pot, and from the pot, I move it into a bigger pot, and when it's strong enough, I will put it back into my garden and have those lovely colors of purple. Another method of propagation for my Mexican Petunia or my Ruellia simplex is actually it works with its rhizome, and here we have the root of the plant. But even then I can just put it in the soil, and from every single place that you have your nodes, it'll spring up. So I might even plant it like that in order to get more plants coming up. So now let's just look at this plant, because basically what happens is once the flower gets spent, is the plant does go into seed production. So it starts off green and then goes brown, and in one seed pod you get almost 20 seeds. And what happens with the seed when it's ready to go and spread its wing, it explodes and can move. It can be thrown almost up to 2 meters, and that's why they feel that in America, some places, that it is invasive, because once the seeds are spread, what happens is that this little seed, especially if it's wet, it has a gel, and it will attach itself to a lot of things. In that way it survives, and it actually does germinate during the daylight and also in the dark. Now, one of the things I do with my Mexican Petunia is sometimes when it does get big and it gets tired, I do prune it down. In that way you get more blooming on the plant. And out of that plant, what I do is once I get the stems, I propagate it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down here a bit. And out of this, I'm going to make my babies. So these, out of all the stalks that I was pruning, I've chosen these ones to do water propagation. Now what you have to do, as we know, is we just really remove all the leaves to expose your node, as we've seen here. I've removed all the leaves and I'm only leaving a few leaves for photosynthesis. Another thing, remove all these spent flowers, the stalks, and any new growth of flowers, because we don't want the plant to start giving energy into making flowers and then seed production instead of actually letting this thing grow. So again, here we've done the same. We just expose your nodes. And that's where the rooting is going to come from, but I'm going to use a very tall stalk like all of these others. And again, the same thing, remove the flower because we don't want flower production. And I'm just going to leave 2 leaves. And all I do with this, in order to get my rooting to take place, I just put it in water and give them 3 weeks to a month, I will get rooting and I can stick it back in the soil. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I know that they do say that the Mexican Petunia is evasive, but you can learn how to control it. You could have them along borders, and I think they look very pretty, especially having that splash of colour in your garden. How amazing is that? So fellow gardeners, I really want to thank you again, and don't forget to like and share and subscribe to my channel and spread the news around and get your friends to also join. It gives me so much pleasure to be able to share information with you. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and I do try to answer your questions, and let's grow together. Have a lovely day.